Hello, welcome to Why Invest Wednesday. First, we'll do a shout out. Salty Sisters with the new Live Edge Colorado. They sold my last one out from under me, but my wife and her sister do some pretty sweet stuff. All you realtors out there, some pretty cool closing gifts. So we'll get that shout out of the way. Today, we're going to talk about appraisals, and appraisals are the number one thing that people are talking about, the number one thing that we've seen a difference in our market with just getting so competitive, and appraisal gaps and appraisal waivers. And, first of all, let's talk about appraisals. So an appraisal is basically one person's opinion hired by the bank, a third party that comes in, does a report on the property. Okay, so they come out, take pictures, measure it themselves, and kind of compare the comparables as you would see like in a comparative market analysis. And so they give a report to the lender saying, okay, this is, the report's value. And once we have that report, then obviously the lender moves forward. The lender will only loan on the, loan to value that they're moving forward, whether it's 97, 95, 90, or 80% loan to value, depending on the down payment, based on that number. So if I have an appraisal come into $100,000, I'm doing a 95% loan to value loan, I have 5% to put down, they're going to give you 95% of the appraised value, and they will not go higher. What you can do is make up that difference with cash, which we'll talk about. An appraisal gap is an offer that's basically saying, as the buyer, no matter what the property appraises for, you're willing to bring, 5 or 10,000 over appraised value, all the way up to 50 and 100,000 right now. Believe it or not, in the middle market between 600 and 850, I'd say. So that's an appraisal gap, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of appraisal gaps, and even more so now, appraisal waivers. And the biggest thing I see as an industry, straight at you from a real estate perspective, is sometimes realtors are putting in appraisal gaps or appraisal waivers and not really taking in the whole picture. Okay, so what if we put an appraisal waiver in, property's listed at 500,000, we're offering 600,000, and we're waiving the appraisal? Well, that means that they're still going to have to do an appraisal for most loans. Sometimes the lender can get a waiver from the appraisal, from the bank, basically saying, we don't need an appraisal on that. We see the value here and there. But when you're talking 600,000 list price and $700,000 sales price, typically the computer isn't going to just kick that out unless you're putting down 50%, and the bank's risk is very little. So that appraisal waiver basically says, no matter what, we're getting an appraisal still, but we don't have the right to object to it. We cannot get out of the contract if it does not appraise. So say $600,000 list price, say the appraisal comes in at 550, and we're under contract at 700. Okay, the crazier things have happened, and basically you have put your client on the hook for 150,000. Some people know about it, some people are fully aware, but some people get to that point and they're like, oh, we don't have that. We just thought, we'd pay the difference, hopefully appraise at 650 and bring 50,000 or whatever that means. These numbers are crazy. If you're like, what, 50,000 over appraised value? They are crazy, but it is happening. So with that waiver, just obviously, if you're purchasing a home or you're in the market, make sure that you really understand what you're putting in the contract, because otherwise your earnest money's at risk. Ultimately, you've already paid for an appraisal, you've paid for an inspection. So you lose a lot of money just with a waiver if you're not really careful about it. Appraisal gaps are a little bit more, planful. Hey, we'll pay 25,000 over appraised value. One thing about that is, we have that in the contract, but none of the seller's rights are gone. So you can say, absolutely, I'll pay $25,000 over appraised value, up to my contract price. But if it comes in at 650 and you're under contract at 700, you've agreed to go up to 675 and bring that $25,000 cash. But the seller has not agreed to lower it $25,000 and meet you there. So that's something that is definitely something to consider. Make sure when you're messing with these appraisal gaps that you really understand the positives, the negatives, and the full story, the whole picture as we go. So we got appraisals, we have appraisal gaps, we have appraisal waivers. now let's talk about the actual appraisal reality and what I call appraisal disasters. I recently had a place that's selling this week, closing this week, and we had one appraiser come out. We had 14 offers on the home in 2 days on the blizzard weekend. Not this last weekend, but when it snowed like 2 feet everywhere. We shut it down before the blizzard really started. We shut it down Saturday at like noon, and we had 14 offers on the place. Well, we did not have one offer below list price. It was listed at $320,000. Okay. Our contract price was well over that. We had 14 offers. Not one was less than $325,000. Okay. The appraiser comes in. He appraised the property at $317,000. The comp said it wasn't. We also had a comp that was closing the day that he was there. He did not have to use it. He hurried up and did the report. Doesn't have to use any comp anyways. That comp came in, below our purchase price, but well above 317. And we sent it to him right away. Nothing. We had the appraisal at 317. So my seller was like, well, I'm not really going to do that. Like, I see the value easily here. So the buyer actually, and the buyer had an appraisal gap, but they're like, well, we'd rather not pay this much, and we see the value. So the lender actually reordered the appraisal with a different appraisal management company, and the home came in at value after the fact. So, and then we kind of did some research. We called other people that had closed, and they're like, yeah, we had this appraiser. He priced it low. It was the same dude in the same complex who was just obviously collecting those up, and for some reason not giving us the values. And I will tell you this: appraisers have an extremely difficult job at this juncture. How you can appraise homes with the accelerating values, no comparables. It's difficult. And I talk to appraisers all the time. I always meet my appraisers for my sellers and the buyers that we contract with, just to make sure they see how we price the property. I'm a real estate professional. Here you go. I know you know how to do your job. This is my concept of what's going on. We always, price the property appropriately. And then obviously the market takes us where we want to go. So I talk to appraisers all the time. They're just like, yeah, and I'll tell you right now, they're working hard. I've had 2 or 3 appraisals that came in a little bit short. Most of them were within the realm of, just a little short, and we had appraisal gaps and we took care of it. But I have had others that the buyer had to stretch a little bit. So that brings me to the question. If you're on Instagram, the trivia question that's on YouTube and Facebook is, what is the largest appraisal difference I have had on a home in the last year? So that's basically meaning the appraisal came in, it was lower than the contract price. What's the largest difference? What's the largest gap that my client had to pay? We'll do a little contest. Please comment on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram, and I will buy lunch tomorrow for the person who gets the closest. So we'll do that. So that's one thing. Appraisers are doing a really good job working their tail off. They have a tough job. They have all this demand, and my job as a realtor selling your home, and to our buyer who we've contracted with, is trying to get that home to appraise, at the appropriate value by providing proof and our concepts. So we definitely say, okay, here's a spreadsheet of the offers. Here's the comps that we used a month ago to do this, to price this property, and this is where I'm at. This is what we got. Do what you can. Here's a list of upgrades if you get in a pinch and you need a little bit of value here and there. So all we can do is help. All we can do is provide facts. And my whole thing is really telling the appraiser how we price the property and our strategy, so that they can use that when they do the report. And so all of that is above board. I always tell them, obviously you know how to do your job, but just this is where I was coming from. Let me know if you have questions, and we move forward. And that's been pretty productive and giving them help to show, okay, here's what the market's asking for. Here's the demands. So that's my plan. All you realtors out there, meet your appraisers for your sellers and buyers. I always wipe down all the surfaces, open the doors, turn on the lights so we're COVID safe, and get out of their way. So that's a little secret of the pros I'll share with you. I see you over there, Dan Lupke, watching on Instagram. I think I've told you that secret before, but if not, I'm sure you do it anyways because you're an excellent realtor. So yeah. Anyways, as we move forward, let's talk a little sports. Let's quit talking about all these math and numbers. How about the Avalanche getting COVID again? Last Wednesday, I was like, look out for them. They're going to be good. And they haven't played a game since. Missed 3. Heard some of the bigger names have been in the protocol, not necessarily testing positive, but definitely look for them to come out and get off the schneid, literally and figuratively, as they go. And how about all these no-hitters? Holy cow, 2 no-hitters in less than a month. I think the Padres threw their first ever no-hitter in franchise history. That's crazy. And then, unfortunately, the White Sox, who throw no-hitters in almost perfect games, seems like yearly no-hit my American League favorite, the Indians, in a great game. He had a perfect game all the way through the 9th, hit a guy, and lost that perfect game, but went out and closed that no-hitter. So super cool, kind of some historic stuff. I hear there's going to be more. I don't know why. I hear they're moving the mound back 12 inches. Don't know what that's going to do or how that's going to affect anything, but I hear it might affect something. So give me a comment. Let me know on those appraisals. As always, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We do these lives every Wednesday, Why Invest Wednesday, just kind of tackling all things real estate. And then we also drop new videos every Saturday. So like, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell all your friends about Jeremy Kane. So, and give a shout out to the Salty Sisters. Dan, I see you. Closing gifts galore right here. Definitely hit them up. They're extremely talented and give some cool closing gift options. So we'll talk to you later, and we'll see. Go Avalanche when you get back on the wagon. And the Nuggets are still playing well, minus their point guard who tore their ACL not too long ago that we talked about last week. So we'll catch you later. Why Invest Wednesday? Holla back.